Hello and welcome to another episode of Their Super Geek. I'm Mariam and I'm here with my co-hosts Kristin and Jeremy and our wonderful guest for tonight, Connie. So tonight we'll be playing not just one, but two games. That's right, a double feature. We'll be playing Halo and Horns and Stakes and Strategies. But before we get into what those games actually are, I will give a quick introduction to those who are new to our show. Their Super Geek is a one-shot actual play live stream that highlights the voices of marginalized folks in TRPGs, and we also feature gender marginalized GMs and a very diverse rotating cast. And yes, joining us tonight is Connie, GM of Transplaner RPG, community advocate, cat parent to Bao, and TRPG designer of several microgames, including the first game we're playing tonight, which is Halo and Horns. But before we begin our games, let's go around the table once and introduce ourselves. Who are you and where can we find you? I'll start with myself. I'm Mariam. I am a host of the show, and I also do quite a few things on Utopia. I'm a streamer, podcaster, and TRPG writer, and you can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. And with that, I will pass it on to our very angelic Kristin.
Hi, I'm Kristin, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at KristinIsNoJedi. I do game design and write for RPGs, as well as co-host the show with my wonderful co-hosts and friends. And I also podcast sometimes. So yeah, and with that, I'll pass it on to Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Harper. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on Twitter or itch at HarkMorper. I stream sometimes, mostly on this show, but I also do some game design, including the second game we'll be seeing tonight, Stakes and Strategy. With that, I'm going to pass it off to Connie.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I am the very honored to be here guest of the night. You can find me on Twitter, itch, Patreon at Connie Chang, BYCONNIECHANG. When I am not here on She's a Super Geek, they're a Super Geek, my apologies. You can find me as the GM and producer behind Transplaner RPG, which is an all transgender, people of color led, 100% homebrew, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live streamed actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist world. If that sounds like your jam, tune in Saturdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Central Time. That is 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern. Do not know off the top of my head what that is for folks in the UK and in various parts of Asia, but it'll either be really, really late or really, really early. Either way, we also have podcast episodes out, going through our old backlog of past streams, putting it on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you pod your casts. We drop new episodes Tuesdays at 5 a.m. Central. So check us out on your various audio podcasting platforms for that good actual play content. And with that, I'm going to pass the baton back to our lovely producer for the evening, Mariam.
Thank you. And speaking of podcasts, we also, we have not really been advertising as such, but we do also have our podcasts. They release a week after our live stream, so check us out at either Misdirected Mark or whichever podcast catcher you are into. And with that, I think we're going to move into our first game, Halo and Horns. And Connie, please take it away. Give us a quick rundown.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't heard of Halo and Horns, here it is in all its glory. It is a one-page RPG, part of my one-page actual player RPG collection, which is a series of micro RPGs written specifically for an actual play environment. This is the first in the series. Basically, there are two GMs, an angel, played by Kristin here, and a devil, played by Jeremy here, who are trying to win the soul of one mortal player, played by myself, for this evening. It's adapted from from this really wacky guessing improv game that I used to do a lot in college and have a lot of fondness for. And the premise is basically each GM has a different objective, right? That they want the mortal to accomplish. The objectives usually don't have anything to do with each other. In fact, the more disparate they are from each other, the wackier hijinks that ensue. The GMs and the audience should be aware of what the objectives are at all times, but I, as the player, the mortal, should not. That's part of the fun of this. I have no idea what either of you are trying to get me to do. The audience does. I don't know. And there is an end to this game. Whenever I complete one objective, whichever objective I complete first, that GM will win. There's another end state to this game is if like I'm not completing either objective, like the GMs are getting tired of this. They want to throw in the towel they can. At any point, either Kristin or Jeremy can basically say uncle and end the game there. Whichever's honestly, like whichever would be a funnier conclusion, is what I have written in the text of the game. So just take it how you will. And in terms of like crunchier quote unquote rules, this is basically a conversation, right? The GMs can do pretty much anything GMs can do in other TTRPGs. They can introduce NPCs, they can do scene switches, they can change up the environment, they can like do terrain shifts, introduce encounters even, right? But we don't have any like stats or anything like that. This is just a back and forth kind of conversation between the two GMs and the one player. The 3 golden rules here are, 1, the GMs can't violate the mortal's player agency by basically telling the player how they feel, what they do, what they think, or how they look. These things that directly relate to the PC are completely up to the player. The second golden rule is neither of the GMs can play the other GM's NPCs. So if like Jeremy introduces an NPC, Kristin can't take over and be like, actually this NPC gets into a car and drives away and goes to Alabama and never seen again. Right? Like that's a little bit like, and the third golden rule is the GMs can't directly contradict what the other says in like a really blatant way. But if you kind of do it subtly, or if you can do it in a roundabout way, that's totally fine, right? So the next step would be picking or creating the objective for each GM. This process I'm going to take my headphones off during. And once each of you have your objectives picked out, it's time to start play. And it begins typically with the mortal setting the scene, saying like where they are, what they're doing, what they look like. And then the GM sort of come in and start trying to push the mortal toward their objective in a manner of creative fashion. So some examples to maybe like help get the brain juices jumping include like you could have like a flyer for like an orphanage, like fly up to my apartment window, or like you can have like an X call or anything, completely up to the GMs. So yeah, any questions from my awesome GMs for the evening?
So
I don't think so.
yeah, that was a really good explanation. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great, of course. I don't have written in the text like dice rolls to see if the mortal or the player can do something or like oppose rolls or anything like that. It's just sort of like based on conversation and like pure role play, basically. Yeah. So just so y'all are aware. Okay. With that, should I take my headphones off for this next part?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
I cannot hear you starting now.
Okay. Okay. Devil, what are you thinking?
So looking through the suggestions that are in the document itself, I really love the idea of trying to get our mortal to carjack a cop car and take it for a joyride. I'm also open to suggestions from the audience if anyone has any, but that's what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah, we will take suggestions. I was also looking at the suggested objectives. They're very good. One is adopt an entire orphanage of orphans. I think I want to tweak that a little bit and have my objective be adopt a litter of kittens. Which I feel like is a good opposite of carjacking a police car.
Not remotely connected to.
Right. It's pretty opposite.
Yeah. So I think stealing a police car.
Oh yeah, right. It's not a it's not a carjack. It's stealing a police car. So
Well,
there could be
that's what
no
I'm saying.
police person in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna write down litter of kittens. Adopt litter of kittens.
I'm gonna put steal police car.
Okay. All right. Are we ready?
Yep.
I think so. Okay. They noticed. Yeah. Thumbs up. Yeah. We did it.
Okay, great. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Ooh, I wonder what they are. I'm so excited. All right. Should I describe what I'm doing and what I'm up to?
Yeah.
Okay,
about
let's
it.
see what my own rules say. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, tell us about it. Yeah. Tell us about your day, what you're doing.
Ooh, okay. I think my character is called Tony. Tony is waking up to the sound of like an alarm going off. Beep, 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 beep. And I just sort of, God, I like smack my hand around a couple of times and I miss it. And I eventually like smack the alarm onto the ground and I let it, shit, crap. And I sort of pull myself up out of a mattress on the ground of a studio apartment in like Cramp City. But at any point, any of you can contradict me and say it's not actually a city, or we're somewhere else. But Tony like pulls themselves up from this like dirty mattress that's got like some springs poking out of it, right? And like a really just unwashed sheet like stretched over this mattress. And I scratch the back of my head and you see that I've got this like sleep t-shirt on that says MILF across the front and it's short for Man I Love Fortnite. And I'm just like scratching my hair and I've got this like curly dark hair and these like dark eye bags under my eyes. And I finally like pick my like crappy like 2008 model like Apple iPhone off of the ground and I smack the snooze button. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. I'm late. Oh, no. And I fling the sheet off of the mattress and I scramble out in just like boxer briefs that have like a big hole like on one pant leg. And I start like bustling about this tiny studio apartment that's just got ramen, like styrofoam cup, like just like strewn all over the ground, like these like moth-eaten curtains that don't do a good job keeping out the light, like the noise of the cities filtering in, like beeping from cars outside, like someone smoking a cigarette on like a nearby balcony and the cigarette smoke's getting in and I cough and I reach for my inhaler and all right. And then I start brewing a pot of coffee as I like hustle into the bathroom to take a shower. And that's Tony.
Tony's fascinating.
Oh my gosh.
I think before, or as Tony, because I don't want to change the narrative, as Tony is brewing the pot of coffee and getting ready to get in the shower, outside that same window, you notice a black cat walk by and then sit and just kind of paw at the window, and then it continues on.
Oh, wait, hold on, Mr. Nibbles. One sec, I got your treats right here. And I run out of the bathroom. I go into a closet that you see has like maybe like it's 20% like canned Campbell soup and the other 80% is like cat food, even though there's like not a single cat in this apartment. And I like rifle through like this huge bag of cat food. I like scoop out like a cup of it and I run over to the window and I try to look for this cat. Hello? Mr. Nibbles?
Oh yeah, I think the cat Mr. Nibbles immediately comes back around the corner. The cat thought that you were possibly sleeping through your alarm again, but is now thrilled to see that you are going to feed them again this week, I assume. Yeah, and is happily nibbling away at the cat food.
I love it. Yeah, I like crack open the window and I set it down and I like tentatively like stroke them and I say, you know, you're really cute, but you can't be noisy like last week, okay? This is a no pet apartment complex.
I think with that, the Mr. Nibbles like lets out just one of those really loud like, meow, and then continues.
Sorry, that was a baby on television. I'm watching Babies, which is a real show that exists. Aw, you like that kibble, don't you, Mr. Nibbles?
I think I think you hear your phone goes off again, just like an alert. There's some sort of message there.
Oh, I take my phone out and I
Okay.
pat Mr. Nibbles on the head as I rush into the bathroom to brush my teeth and check my phone at the same time.
Okay, you look at it and it's your daily co-star update. So your horoscope, and it says watch out, be careful. The stars are aligning today. Watch out for ladders, broken mirrors, black cats. Anything else that could keep you or that could bring on the bad luck. You need as much good luck as you can today.
I gurgle and I spit out the Sensodyne, and I like look at this coaster and I say, wow, Capricorn rising, it is not my season. Okay, all right, good to know. Thank you, co-star, thank you. I put the phone back, and as I'm like pulling on like these like ripped black jeans, I hustle over to see if Mr. Nibbles is still eating.
Yes, Mr. Nibbles is still eating. And I think also that your radio turns on and it's playing The Love Cats by The Cure, which Mr. Nibbles' favorite song. And so Mr. Nibbles, their tail just starts going back and forth.
Oh, Mr. Nibbles, that's adorable. But I'm getting really mixed signals this morning. Listen, I'm sorry, buddy. How about I just leave the cat food out on the fire escape? But I can't risk getting evicted. I'm so sorry, co-star. And I like start putting the kibble out on the fire escape and I start to close the window.
Mr. Nibbles like eats a little bit and then skitters away.
Bye. All right, how much time do I have left? And I check my phone to see how late I am for work.
Ooh.
You are you're 5 minutes later than you usually are.
Oh, that's not good because I'm usually like 15 minutes late. So this is 20. I'm pushing 20. God, Jesus. Okay. And I don't change my shirt because I forget, I think. So it's still the MILF shirt. And I like grab like my keys, I grab my wallet, I like stuff it in a fanny pack that I tie around my waist, and I'm out of there. I'm booking it out into the hall.
Yeah, I think as you enter the hallway, you notice that lining the hallway only on one side are brightly colored posters for your local pet shelter. They weren't there last night.
Oh, weird. Are they like all in a row? They're like dominating.
Just all in a row on one side. Like maybe someone put them up and was going to go to the other side and then ran out because it's just all down the hallway on one side, leading to the stairs or elevator, whatever you normally take.
I love it. What's the cutest pet on the poster?
Ooh, so there are two main pictures that are featured, and one is of a hamster. But the hamster doesn't look nearly as cute as there's a picture of a few kittens on the other side.
Oh, yeah. I think Tony has a soft spot for kittens. I pause at like one of the posters and I look at it. I like trace a finger longingly over it. Oh, one day, maybe when I move out of this apartment, then I'll adopt 2 or 3 of you. I promise. I gotta go. And I start rushing down the hallway somewhere.
Yeah, as you're rushing, there's a buzz, and you've got a text.
Ooh, I check it.
Yeah, from your coworker Sally, and it says, "Where the hell are you? You know that you can't afford to be late again. You need to get here as quick as you can."
Yeah, I text Sally back. I say, "OMG, Sally, I'm so sorry." And I spam a bunch of emojis, like the crying emoji, but like a laugh out loud emoji gets in there by accident. I send it, and I quickly text as I'm like heading toward like the elevator. I'm like jamming the button, and I'm like texting with one hand. I text like, "Can you please cover for me until I get there? Please. I owe you."
Okay, you get a response that's okay. Period. This is the last time. Period.
Oh, can I ask what my relationship with like Sally is like? Is she like my coworker or is she like a manager like above me?
I think she's like your coworker.
Okay.
She's your coworker. She's covered for you a lot before.
Yeah. I sort of put Sally through the ringer, and I just text back, last time, promise, and like the pinky, like the promise emoji, like with the fingers. And I get into the elevator and I start jamming the close button.
Okay.
Close. Okay. Oh, why can't this elevator move any faster?
I think that as soon as you get to the bottom, unless you stop the elevator before, but I think as soon as you get to the bottom and it does that ding of arriving on the main floor and it opens, Mr. Nibbles is there, and they have brought a friend. And so now there is a friend, and the friend has a little collar on. Mr. Nibbles
my goodness.
does not have a collar.
Is this like in the foyer of the apartment complex?
Yes. Yeah, they're just waiting, like right when you walk out of the elevator. Mr. Nibbles' tail is flicking back and forth.
Is the friend also a black cat?
No, the friend is like orange and white.
Oh, so cute, like a little creamsicle. I look down. Oh my goodness, Mr. Nibbles, and you brought a friend? You've got a collar on. Are you lost? I exit the elevator and I look side to side to see if my landlord's here.
I don't think you see your landlord, but I do think that you see one of your older neighbors who's a little bit grumpy, and he like walks up. He has on like a cardigan, and he walks up with a cane and looks at you and looks down at the cats. These yours?
Oh, hey, Mr. Hernandez. No, I just found him here.
You can't have pets here.
I know. They're not mine. I promise. I know that one has a collar, which is really suspicious. But I promise it does not belong to me. I literally just stepped out of the elevator.
All right. I heard the landlord is selling the building, so maybe the rules will change, but not now.
Really? Oh, wow. How serendipitous. Well, look at these two adorable little kitties. Would you adopt one of them if the rules do change? Oh, what? Oh, I checked my phone.
It says, "Where are you?" ?
Oh, you know what? I gotta go. Kitties, it's not safe in this building. And I scoop both of them up. And I run, I head for the doors.
I think when you get outside, it's bright and sunny and the perfect day for a walk or jog to work.
Oh, good, because I think I usually run to work. I don't think I have a car. I think I usually just book it and I show up sweaty. And that's what I count as like my workout, like my daily workout. So I run out and I drop the cats nearby like a copse of bushes lining the front of the apartment building, and I say, "Sorry, Mr. Nibbles. Sorry, friend. Please be safe. I'm so sorry I don't have time to take you to a shelter or something, but I have to go. I'm late. Sally, it's a whole thing. You understand." And I start booking it down the pavement and like checking my phone, hoofing it.
Cool. You take a turn, and you notice that the street has been blocked off. The street you normally go running down. Sidewalks blocked off. There's something going on. There's cop cars parked at both sides, but there's just construction workers saying, "Sorry, can't walk through this way."
Wait, really? What's going on? Like construction or something?
Yeah, we had we think there might have been a gas main or gas line leak here, so you're not going to be able to walk down this way.
Wait, a gas leak? I live right in that building. Is it safe?
It's safe as long as you're inside, but the roads out here, the street out here just isn't safe to walk down right now.
Oh my God. Okay, well, thanks. Yeah, I'll take another way. Thank you.
The detour is about a mile down that way. We had to close off a few streets. We're trying to figure out exactly where it's coming from. So.
A mile? Oh, that's not good. I'm definitely going to get fired. Thank you. And I start running in the direction of the detour.
Go ahead. Were you going to say something, Connie?
No, I like to pause to see if my GMs are going to throw anything else at me, because I don't want to just barrel ahead with what I want to do. also?
No, please go ahead and barrel, and we'll jump in.
Sounds good. So I run down the pavement, and I'm calling Sally at this point. I'm like FaceTiming her, and I'm like, please pick up.
Okay. Yeah. She picks up. Where are you?
I'm sorry. Hey, are you in the freezer?
I mean, that's the only place I could get away to make a call to you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, I'm so sorry. Listen, there's like a huge gas leak near my apartment. They're blocking off like 6 or 7 blocks. There's like a mile-long detour.
Isn't that the excuse you used last week?
What? No, that wasn't a gas leak. That was my grandma's funeral. I had to go to that. It's a real thing that did happen. And I can't afford an Uber.
You need to get here as fast as you can. You know you can't afford to lose this job. You're going to be out on the streets and you can't pay your rent.
Damn, Sally, you always know just what to say to make me feel like a piece of crap. Okay, will do. I'm so sorry for putting you through this. Hopefully I'll be able to beat the morning rush when I get there.
Yeah, I am definitely. I mean, just find whatever way you can to get here as fast as you can.
Okay, will do.
I'll keep Mr. Terwilliger.
Terwilliger, yeah, Mr. Terwilliger, right? Yeah. Tubesy, got it. Okay, thank you, Sally. And I hang up. And I'm gonna run toward like another blocked off street, but try to find one where the construction workers and cop car presence is lower, and I'm gonna try to sneak through it anyway.
I think as you're walking, because you were talking, I'm assuming on speakerphone and pretty loudly, and you start to pass by someone who looks like they're about your age, and they say, "Oh, I actually just called an Uber. It's taking me to the shelter, the animal shelter. But if you want to come with me after that, you can use the Uber." Oh, you seem like you're really in a panic.
I am. Wait, so the shelter's right next to where I work, actually.
Right.
The Starbucks.
It is. You work next door do you work for Mr. Terwilliger?
I do work for Mr. Terwilliger.
Yeah.
You? What's your name?
My name is Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer. Well, it's so great to meet you. Oh my God, you'll literally save my life. I was gonna go risk my lungs, and I have asthma, so I really can't do that.
Oh, don't do that. Yeah, no, that's perfect. I was already taking the Uber to the animal shelter. So if you work next door from Mr. Terwilliger, just come in with me. It'll be here in 1 minute.
Thank you, Jennifer. You were a lifesaver. Okay.
No
All right.
problem.
And I squat down next to Jennifer.
I think Jennifer is doing her makeup. I feel like Jennifer has pulled out a compact and is just...
So why are you headed to the shelter today?
Oh, they're having a big adoption event today. I'm going to try to get a hamster.
I heard about that. Oh, yeah.
There's so many animals in need, and I just feel like we should all do our part.
Yeah, I would, but my apartment doesn't allow cats. But hey, the landlord's selling the place. The rules might change.
Really? Well, if they're selling the place, the new person might not even know what the rules are. You could probably sneak a few in.
I know, but I really can't risk getting evicted. The rent's dirt cheap. I don't think I could find another place like that in New York.
Yeah, that's a good point. Unless, is it rent controlled? Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh. I was just say that the Uber car pulls up. A car pulls up, I suppose, and it's got one of the Uber stickers on the back. And it turns down the street, and it's on the other side of the street. So, you're on this side, and it's going this way, and it just kind of swerves over to pick you up.
Oh, that's got to be Uber for Jennifer, eh?
Yeah. Climb on in.
Okay. All right. Do you want to sit here? You can have the front. I'll sit in the back too. Here, and I just awkwardly sort of scoot into the back seat of Uber.
Thank you.
And allow room for Jennifer.
Thank you. I don't like sitting in the front seat, so thank you so much.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward sometimes, right? Especially if the driver's a creep.
Yeah. I feel like
Where are y'all headed?
Oh, the animal shelter? They're having a big adoption event today. You could stay and check one out unless you have another customer, but we should all do our part and adopt animals when we can.
Sure. Just kind of looks at you kind of funny through the rearview mirror. Very slowly checks. All right. Pulls out and is plodding along very slowly.
Is it going the speed limit? Are they going the speed limit, or is it really slow?
It's going really slow.
Excuse me. I don't want to be like a nag or anything, but do you think you could like maybe drive closer to the speed limit? I'm just late for work.
Oh, are you in a hurry, son?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
All right, you should have said so. And then he starts going much faster.
Okay.
Starts speeding.
All right.
Oh.
Okay.
You think you saw him blow through a red light. You're not sure.
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh,
Is this
I don't think we
okay?
need to.
We'll get you there as fast as we can. Don't worry.
Oh, I don't know that we need to run.
Remember,
red
5
light.
stars.
Oh. Are you okay
Wow,
with this?
well-
Do you get car sick?
I'm like, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. And I'm
I
like,
know
I'm
you're-
like,
Okay.
And then you see the flashing lights in the back.
no.
Oh.
Oh no, I think we're getting pulled over.
Starts muttering to himself,
I feel like this is
swearing
the
under
first
his breath,
time.
pulls over to the side.
Hey Jennifer, can I look at the map of the Uber real fast on your phone?
Oh, sure, of course. Here you go.
I check it. How far away are we? Like, could I make it on foot with like how much he's sped?
Ooh, should we say we're halfway there?
That sounds good.
Halfway.
Okay. I say,
I'm
I'm
halfway there.
so sorry, Jennifer. I can't get fired. I'll see you at the shelter. Okay?
Yes.
Just,
Here's a flyer. Will you come by when you're done with your shift?
Yeah. And I surreptitiously check the back to see if she wrote her number on it.
She did write her number on it.
Okay. I fold it up. I put it in my back pocket with like of my ripped jeans, and I book it out of there as like the cop car pulls up, and I go, "I'm sorry. Here, I'll Venmo you a tip. I'll Venmo you the split of the thank you." And I slam the door shut, and I start running to the Starbucks where I work.
It was the MILF shirt that really won her over.
I was thinking the same thing, that it was the MILF shirt. Jennifer was like, all right then.
So you get another message that says it's just 3 question marks
And I just text back,
from Sally.
running through the door now. And I'm like dragging it out as long as I can as I'm like pulling up to like, the hill that the Starbucks is on, buffing it up the hill, like past the parking lot if I can make it there without any other obstacles. And I'm like heading for the door of the Starbucks, the employee door.
Employed her. So I think you have, since it's next door, I think you have to pass the animal shelter to get
Okay.
there, and they're having a big event, and so there's balloons and there's streamers and a sign, and out in front are just a bunch of those pins that have different animals in them, and there are 2 like shelter employees at the end near the Starbucks door employee entrance that are standing there talking to people, and as you run up, they have clipboards and everything, and they kind of very nicely kind of step in your way. Oh, excuse me. Do you have just a second?
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I know about this event, and I pull out the flyer, but I show like the side with Jennifer's number by accident. I know about this event. I'll be after my shifts. I'll come. I promise. I'm starting to like backwards walk away if I can.
Yeah, I think they're like, okay, thanks. Well, do you work here?
I do
the
at the
Starbucks?
Starbucks. Yeah,
For Mr. Tulliger?
Yes, Mr. Tulliger. Yeah.
The nicest man. Okay, we'll see you after your shift.
Yep, you got it. Not that nice. I say under my breath as I like book it. to the employee door.
Oh boy, Jeremy.
Oh yeah. So you get inside, and you see there's, I mean, as usual, there's a long line. Sally's working the register, and Mr. Twilliger's on bar, which is not a good sign.
I messed up. Yeah, he never comes out of the office. Oh God. Okay, yeah. I go and I like pull on my apron. You know, like I'm like making it in through the back, like the green apron, and I'm like, "Hi, sorry. Here, hey, I can make that next order."
He just gives you a look, and says, "Come see me in my office after work," and walks away.
Yes, Mr. Toe Licker. I mutter as he like walks away. Hey, Sally, so sorry I got stuck in the trenches with the morning coffee crowd. Thanks so much for covering for me. I swear it's been the craziest morning. I mean, second craziest. My grandma, with a week ago. But anyway, how are you?
And she just kind of laughs to herself, kind of smiles. She saw the MILF shirt you were wearing, laughs and smiles, shakes her head, goes back to taking the next order.
The person that's placing their order next places an order that is no fewer than 20 instructions, right? They know the temperature they want, the 2 pumps of this, right? They're giving you a bunch of orders. But the person who's with them has a flyer.
I wonder what the objective is from the angel.
I know we're running up on time, so I'm trying to.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm still trying to figure out what the devil's objective is, so I can give Tony a meaningful choice. I'm trying to suss it out.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to give Tony another scene, Jeremy, and then Connie can make like an informed choice?
I have no idea how I'm going to get Tony. I'm at about that point of throwing in the towel.
No! Wait, now's the time to bring in the big guns. Like, to really just like, whatever you want.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm terrible at coming up with something. Everything's looking at me.
We're not looking. Look, I'm looking away, Jeremy.
No. I'm at a loss.
You can throw in the
Tony
towel
started.
if you want.
That's fair. Yeah. So I think that two police officers walk through the door.
Okay.
They walk through the door. I like the taking a piece of advice from the chat. 2 police officers walk through the door and say, "Excuse me, is Tony? What's your last name?" Actually,
Tony. Let's do Tony Song. Tony Song.
Okay. Is Tony Song here?
Yeah. Why? That's me.
I'm afraid that we've got a warrant here. We're gonna have to take you downtown for some questions.
Wait, is this because I stiffed the Uber bill? Listen, I'm so sorry. I was just late for work, and I was gonna Venmo Jennifer. And
nope. They kind of give each other a look and then say, "This is much more serious than that. I'm afraid you might want to think about contacting your lawyer."
What?
And so they say, "You're gonna have to come with us." And so they. Are you gonna go with them or?
Yeah. One sec. I turn to Sally. Like, how's Sally taking this?
Sally looked surprised when they first asked about you, but then she's like,
This checks out.
yeah, this seems
Sally's
accurate.
not what it looks like. I don't know what this is about. Mr. Tooliger, the cops have a warrant for my arrest. Well, you can fire me later, please. Okay. I think I forget to take the apron off because I'm in shock,
Fair.
and I leave the store with the cops.
So they lead you out to the car. They sit you down, and it's an unmarked car. There must be detectives or something. They sit you down in the back, and then one of them says, "Gosh, Frappuccinos. I'm sorry. You come here and you get a craving. We'll be right back." And so the two of them walk off to go get a Frappuccino.
Okay.
Nice.
Are the keys in the ignition?
They are. Well, they're not in the ignition. They're not that. They're just sitting on the seat. They're not that irresponsible. They're sitting on the seat right there next to the handcuffs.
Just want to say that before Tony sees the keys on the car, which they will definitely see,
Fair.
their line of sight passes by this cage, and sitting in this cage are 5 kittens with big eyes and their little paws up.
Okay, Tony. And I think something in Tony breaks. And Tony's gonna very calmly exit the vehicle, pick up the cage of the 5 kittens, put the kittens in the back of the car, open the driver's seat, pick up the keys in the ignition, and start the cruiser, and like out of there with the kittens, like in tow.
Love it.
Well done. I think that means Jeremy wins.
I don't know. I think that means that we both win. I think that Tony managed to do both.
Yeah. I mean, so mine, Connie, was to adopt a litter of kittens. I don't know if that was a legal adoption, but
Wait, and then out the window you see like adoption papers fly out as I'm filling them in my hand. I throw them back.
I love it.
it's a draw.
Yay! Oh my god, that was so much fun.
That's such a fantastic game, Connie. I'm absolutely going to play this with my table. That is a fantastic game, everyone. You should play it. So fun.
Oh, y'all were so good. I was like, this is such a wacky way to start Tony's morning, and I'm so glad I had such lovely GMs to throw stuff at me.
All right. That was the audience couldn't see this, but I was just laughing my ass off. I was trying very hard not to wheeze into the mic, even though the live feed couldn't hear me. It was so good. So good. Okay, with that, we have completed our first game, Halo and Horns, written by our wonderful guest, Connie. We're now going to take a very quick break to sort of, stretch ourselves, all of that, as well as to change over for our next game, which I will be running and was written by someone over here, another co-host, our wonderful Jeremy. So yeah, join us in a bit. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back to play Stakes and Strategies. Do the things and awkward ending. Anyways, yeah, we will be right back. See y'all. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Their Super Geek. I'm Mariam, and I'm here with my co-host Kristin and Jeremy, and our wonderful guest Connie. We just played Halo and Horns, which is a wonderful micro RPG improv game for 2 GMs and a player, where it's an angel and a devil trying to win a mortal over. And in our particular version, we basically had kittens versus Grand Theft Auto, and the end was just kind of with a little bit of both, I think. um, yeah, so if you want to check out that game, we'll put the links in our chat, and if you're watching or listening to this as our podcast or VOD, we'll have the links in our video description and show notes. But for now, we're gonna get into our second game, which I'm so excited. This is our first double feature. And also, speaking of firsts, in their Super Geek, I will GM a game, and previously we had our other two co-hosts GM sort of a game. So we all GM this game technically. But yes, I will be GMing our next game, Stakes and Strategy. And this game is also another first, as in it is the first game featured here that is written by one of our wonderful co-hosts, Jeremy. And a quick overview. Stakes and Strategies. Strategy is a lasers and feelings hack that is homage to sort of the teen monster hunter genre, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And Jeremy, do you want to quickly go over your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, designed to be something you can pick up and play pretty easily, pretty quickly. Zero to low prep. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Love it, love it, love it. And wanted to be able to play Buffy the Vampire stories at the drop of a hat with my friends. So I created this. It was the first game I wrote. As you said, a hack of lasers and feelings. So pretty narrative heavy, pretty mechanically light. And I am excited to give it a try with y'all.
Yeah, so for those new to lasers and feelings, or its hacks, there's a very quick character creation, which I'll go over in a moment. And the way the bulk of the game works is you have a d6 that you roll, and basically, if you roll, there are two objectives, essentially two things you can do as we're narrating and telling the story. You can either do something that involves using stakes, which in this case means sort of leaning into the supernatural, passionate action, using an actual stake, vampires, staking a vampire sort of a thing. Or you can use strategy, which is basically planning things out, doing less about supernatural, more about mundane activities. And essentially, if you're trying to do something that is involving stakes, you want to roll low. If you want to use something with strategy, you want to roll high. And as we continue, we'll go over it. There are definitely complications, and you get more dice depending on whether it is something to do with your character archetype or your place in the story, and as well as I can throw in complications. So if you let me throw in a complication, I will give you an extra die to that roll if you're really keen on making that check. And with that, we will start going very quickly into character creation. We did do this ahead of time, so it's more of an introduction, but for those curious, things that players need to decide is what their archetype is, their age, their place in their story, and also picking their number, which is anywhere between a 2 to 5, because we roll a d6 for this game. So let us begin with our characters in play here. Let us start off with our wonderful guest. Please tell us your character.
I forgot that was me. Hey everyone. So Connie, my character is their archetype is witch/warlock. They're a teen here at this lovely high school. And their place in the story is that their name is Atropos. And I think they've got this kind of long black hair, sort of like The Grudge a little bit, that goes down in front of their chest, and they're always kind of hunched over. They've got real bad posture, friends. And they don't carry a book bag, they carry a sack, with them, like a leather sack that they just hold in one fist from like class to class, and they like carry their textbooks, which won't fit in the sack, under like their other arm, and they're you only see like a single exposed eye, and it's always like really wide. It's like black and starting back and forth, and they look really like malnourished, like they only subsist off of like Kit Kats and Monster Energy drinks, and they've got like similar to the other character I played earlier, they've got like dark eye bags, and they're always sort of like muttering under their breath, and they always sit in the back of the class no matter what class it is. Even if it's gym, they're in the back of the gym, right? They're like back of the classroom. Atropos, they are, if you haven't been able to guess already, they're the spooky weirdo archetype is the one I've homebrewed off of Jeremy's lovely system. And I wrote like an extra thing for their place in the story, which is like they're a member of a secret society. I was thinking like a coven or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it might just be them and their like Tumblr friends or something. So they're like sitting in the back currently, or wherever this is starting, and they're like looking around with that like one exposed eye.
So I do have two questions for you. One,
Okay.
is that bag that they use, could it almost double up as like a blackjack or something? The way they're handling it?
A blackjack?
Yeah, like a sap or something. You know, where
I'm not sure what that is.
so it's like a big bludgeony object that you can smack someone to knock them out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's like a mace. For sure. Like, ooh, and I feel like Atropos could just reach in and pull anything out. like a rubber chicken, or like a magic 8-ball, or like a set of tarot cards, or the bologna sandwich their mom packed for them for lunch or something.
So then my second question would be, what is the name of your coven, and what goal do you think they have?
I think the name of this coven is the Bad Feminists. And their goal is to like destroy, not just like smash, but like eviscerate patriarchy. Specifically, they use that word, eviscerate patriarchy.
Wonderful. And then you had also said that it like, so is this like, have you ever met any of the members of the coven, or is it like an online group? Because we are playing modern day, so it could
Let's say
totally...
it's exclusively online. Like we have a shared Pinterest board that we like add to. We always like talk about meeting up, but we're all over the world. It'll be hard to coordinate a meetup. Yeah, and there's always drama in the coven, like no doubt.
Wonderful. Okay, so I would say you probably, like, you know, you're connected with your smartphone or what have
Definitely.
you. Okay, then next, I believe we will go with Jeremy. Please tell us about your character.
Yeah. So my character is named Mpatapo, but just goes by Poe. And Poe is a demon, and who is is older than I look, much older. I think of myself at least as the mentor, but I'm seeking redemption. So I've been around for a long time, and I've done some shit, and I am trying to make amends. And for some reason, I've decided that the best way to do that at this moment is to pose as a high schooler in Sunnyside High. A lot of things are happening here. There's a lot of opportunities to help people out and save them. In terms of how I look, there's two answers to that. There's how I actually look, which is like very large, like 7, maybe 6, almost 7 feet tall, with 2 horns and 3 ears, 1 gold horn and 1 silver horn, and slightly shimmery or sparkly, kind of almost metallic looking skin. But then Poe is during the day, or I guess to fit in so that I can pose as a high schooler, I look like your average jock archetype. So I'm always wearing a jersey or a Letterman jacket. Sometimes the Letterman jacket on top of the jersey. I've got slick back hair, but I look like a jock from like the 1950s. I'm a little confused. So I got like slicked back hair. I'm always talking about did they get pinned? I want to give my Letterman pin to someone. I usually have food of some kind with me. I'm eating something most of the time. It turns out it takes a lot of human food to fuel this.
Yep. So I do have a question. Since you're seeking redemption, what did you do that needs redemption?
I wish it was just one thing.
But which thing?
God,
what's your biggest regret?
My biggest regret is the time that I spent with. There was this group. I fell in with this group of vampires for a little bit. There were a couple demons there. And we basically treated a town, hundreds of years ago, treated this town as kind of our own little personal kingdom. Like the combination of the demons, what they could do, and the vampires, what they could do, like it was ours. We kept it hidden from the rest of the world, and we just ruled it, so to speak, for years. And just no one there had, the humans there didn't, the mortals there didn't have any self-control. That we took away their will for
so it was like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And now we go to Shades. Please tell us who you are.
Yeah. So I'm playing Shades, who is a vampire slayer. Wondering how Poe and Shades are going to get along. I guess we'll find out. So my place in the story is reluctant hero, which I've kind of tweaked a little bit to be unlikely hero. It's like a combo, and paid professional badass. So I think what has happened here is that Shades, whose very clever and unique nickname comes from the fact that she always wears sunglasses, is in a D&D group at school. And one day while walking home was talking about this monster that she took down. I mean, she rolled like 2 crits in a row. And someone overheard her and thought that she was talking about a monster she had taken down in real life. Mm-hmm. So she got a job as a vampire slayer. So it was kind of like her tryout. Like she didn't know she was being interviewed for it. So she kind of fell into this position. I'm going to say she's been a vampire slayer for just about a year now. Is a true teen, high school student. And the number I picked is 5. So very high in stakes.
Yeah. And I believe, Poe, you also chose a 5, and Atropos, you picked a 3, which is, I guess, a little more balanced.
That is balanced.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, yeah.
So, Shades, I have a question for you. Do you know who pays your checks?
Yeah, so I have met them one time. Mr. Nibbles pays my checks. Yeah.
Mr. Nibbles. Definitely their real name and not at all a pseudonym.
100% the real name.
And the other question I guess I would ask is, have you actually slayed a vampire or any monster between your D&D slaying and up to where our story starts?
Yeah. So Shades definitely has slayed a vampire. I mean, it's possible the vampire actually tripped and fell onto the stake, but it counts. I feel like it counts. She's got it.
How did you feel? How did you feel about your first kill? With the viscera and gore, maybe all that stuff.
I think Shades has spent so much time talking about it in her games, her RPGs, that she was actually not bothered. You'd think she'd be a little skittish, but that's the one thing she's done well. She didn't get sick. She handled it. I think she handled herself really well.
Okay, wonderful. Another thing that we all create, and we kind of have talked about this briefly before stream, is we need to create our base of operations. That means as a group, you all would pick 2 strengths for what that base is, as well as 1 problem. Now, before we describe what the base actually is, and this is something I think we'll decide right here and now, the 2 strengths that were picked was that there is research materials available, high-tech equipment, and the 1 problem that was there is that it was full of dangerous distractions. Now, given that a lot of the events are going to take place within school, where do you think that base of operations would fit given these 2 strengths and a problem?
My first thought was like one of the chemistry labs.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like
With
that.
the distractions and the equipment. We could like brew our own potions or make our own stuff. Like our own little workshop or something.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Which works just wonderfully because you do have a chemistry teacher who is very, let's just say, more friend than teacher, which is usually good for the students, not very good for the school. So our setting for this game is a wonderful coastal sunny place somewhere in North America, somewhat fantasy, totally not California or Florida. And our school name is Sunnyside High School. We are setting the scene for all of you characters. You either already know each other or barely know each other, and it is the first day of school. As it starts off, who out of the 3 of you would arrive first?
I think I'd probably be there pretty early. I don't know that I actually leave. I think I sleep somewhere there. I don't know that I sleep. I think I stay somewhere there on the ground. So I try not to be the first person. As soon as I see anyone else showing up at school, I kind of stroll out.
So as you stroll out, you see on like the bulletin board that there's going to be a school assembly just before the first bell will ring, and the assembly notes basically say introducing the new principal. Your chemistry teacher has been promoted to principal of the school. The previous principal just basically had suddenly retired, just out of the blue, just retired. And the last few days of the previous school year just was chaos, but it was fine because it was the end of school year. And over summer, it was just decided that your chemistry teacher, Cersei, was such a good so good with the students that for now the interim principal will be Cersei. And she prefers just that one name. There's no surname, just Cersei. I'm Cersei. And you see that there are courses being offered for home ec and electives, and that is run by you think they're related somehow, cousins maybe, by Miss Pasiphae and there's those sort of and then you see other sort of curriculars and everything else happening. That's what you see as people start kind of coming in, and who goes next? Who shows up next?
I think Shades will come in next.
Yeah. So, Shades, how do you enter the high school?
I think Shades has their own car. It's an older car. It's like a Chrysler Fifth Avenue. It's super old. It's like a boat, right? And she parks it kind of towards the back because she's a little embarrassed by it. Yeah, so she drives to school. She's old enough to drive. And she just comes in with...
Yeah, you're all seniors-ish, if that's what you choose to. This is your last year, your graduating year.
Yeah. So senior year. So I think that's why she shows up second, because, she doesn't have an early class. She has like second period. So she just shows up with her backpack and is kind of strolling through the grass in the main area, just heading to class. No real rush. Waves at a couple friends.
And Atropos, how do you make your way to school?
My mom pulls up in front of the school in her minivan, and I get out, and she's like calling after me, like, "Oh, don't forget that." I'm like, "I'm fine, Mom," and I'm just like lugging my sack, and like I think her mom, like the minivan has like stickers on the back that say like "baby on board," and like the little like family sticker in the back. And my mom's like very much like a suburban mom, like and then like I make my way into school. It's almost like I'm like a charismatic black hole. Like I think like no one pays me any attention, and like maybe like there's like a group of like popular girls like or whatever like in front of like the school gates, like at like blocking my way in, and I try to like go left, but they move left, and I go right, they move right. They're not even looking at me. It's just like pure coincidence, and I just I like sigh in front of these like I think they're like freshman girls, even though I'm a senior, and I just sigh and I stand there. And I wait for them to move.
Now, I'm gonna say that you all kind of you survived some traumatic event, like of monster supernatural stuff over the summer holidays. So you are all, that's how you have your base of operations. You realize you should be together, like you should keep an eye out on stuff. Do you all acknowledge each other during school though? Like, what does you all eventually kind of spot each other in the hall? What do y'all do?
I wave very enthusiastically when I see either of them. Whoever I see first, maybe I see Atropos trying to get around this group. And you just see a hand like kind of pop up on the other side of them, like, Atropos! Atropos!
Does that scatter the girls? Does that finally make them?
Yeah.
Does that part the sea?
Yep. Easily, because there's just with Bo, there's just this energy that makes them a little hesitant, and they start to move. They start to be like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess we got to go to assembly now. I heard our chem teacher is now the principal," and they just giggle and they walk off.
I go up to Poe gratefully, and I like look up with like that one exposed eye. I say, "Thanks, Poe. I didn't want to have to hex them to get out of the way, so you really saved them from a bad ending there. What's that about Cersei?"
Yeah, I guess we're gonna get the chem lab all to ourselves now.
That is nice, but what happened to Principal? What was our old principal's name?
Our old your old principal's name was Mr. Tooliger.
What happened to Tooliger?
I don't know. They said he retired or something, but
That's weird. I really thought that he was gonna show up even after he died. That old fart.
Yeah. And at that point, you start to hear the bell ring for assembly. And as you're all ushered in, do you all sit together, or do you sit like with whatever cliques you might be in? How does that work?
Oh, Shades definitely has saved 2 spots.
Oh, nice.
Here. Hi.
Hey, Shades. Hi.
Hey.
And I sidle in and I sit in the middle seat.
I saved spots.
I think when I see you, I toss the football to you. Kind of pull it out.
To me, Shades
Yes,
like
you.
Shades almost catches it and like for a second looks really proud of herself, and then it like shoots out, over, and she's like, "I'm so sorry," and runs and chases
Wait,
it.
maybe it smacks me in the face.
Perfect.
Shoots out.
I'm so sorry.
And it bounces off as it smacks Atropos and lands where your previous D&D friends are, and they just kind of go like, "I don't want. I remember us."
I go
Your
over to
friends?
go over to get it, and I'm like, "Oh, hi. I have to sit with them, but we'll play after school, right?" Yeah, and then runs back over before they can answer. Like,
Yeah, and they just kind of just stare at each other. And at this point, you see your beloved chemistry teacher, Cersei, kind of float almost. Such grace and effervescence sort of comes over to the podium, and there's like a little bit of feedback, and immediately the dulcet tones come out and says, "Welcome our new session of students to Sunnyside High. I am so pleased to welcome you all here, and as your new prince," and gets cut off as the doors open, and this man, a very kind of like properly wears a very well tailored suit in like dark blues, and says, "Sorry about that. Yes, thank you so much for your help over the summer, interim principal." But and sort of somehow scooches your teacher away from the mic and says, "Hello, everyone. I would like to give a big hand to Cersei for taking over your oh, I think no, that's fine. The internet is doing some weird things. Yeah, so there's yeah, and says, "Thank you so much for your help over the summer in with managing the school." And you hear Cersei, because the microphone, for whatever reason, is super sensitive. It was not meant to be heard by everyone, but all the students hear it. And it's like, well, there's not much school in summer, so it's not like it did have to do anything. And this man continues and says, "Yes, with the help of the school board and our wonderful interim principal, I am glad to welcome you all as the new principal of this wonderful educational institution. I am Principal Wood." And you see that there's a small, like, lapel of a creature, of a woodpecker, and says, "And I will make sure that whatever slack has been slacking over the last few years, that we pick it up, and to make sure that there's no accidents at the school, or sudden, like, no more lackadaisic. We are very, very, very concerned about the care of our students." And just to give if this was a TV show, previous episodes have included various forms of things that, why are they happening in this high school? And kind of to put it in context, and says, well, if you have any problems or issues or concern, please come see me or our interim vice principal, Cersei. And Cersei's face looks like, if looks could kill, would be ash.
Can I do something risky?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna do I'm gonna do a witchy insight check, basically. While this whole thing has been happening, like both of like my friends are gonna see Atropos start to mutter darkly as I dig through my bag, and I literally start casting a spell.
Okay,
right? Like,
so I think this is definitely a stakes check. So you get
Okay, fine. Okay, yes.
So because this is something that is a little super witchy, so you get 1 dice just to do it, and then because it is your archetype and you're casting a spell, you get 1 more. And with your place in the story, I would say you could get 1 more, and you could get a 4th dice if you are really really concerned by letting me add a complication.
I will just roll 3. I think 3 is pretty good, and I'm trying to roll my number.
Yeah.
Or
you are trying to, if you roll your number exactly, there's a very cool thing where you get extra info and you get to do some stuff. But for stakes, you want to roll under your number.
My number's a 3, so I want to roll.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll roll under 3. It's pretty good odds. I got a 5, a 2, and a 3.
Yes. Okay, so if you roll your number exactly, the die roll fails, but there's a couple of things. You've developed a stake strategy. You have a realization of how to use your stake strategically, or just incorporate more stakes into your strategy. You get to ask me a couple of questions, and then once I answer your question, you can decide to change your action, and then you can either re-roll all your dice or keep your initial roll.
Okay, the question I want to ask is, what are the specifics around what Principal Wood is referring to in terms of Cersei helping him over the summer?
Okay. So I
want the bones I'm rolling to give me the answer. As I'm literally rolling knuckle bones like onto the ground. Like, oh shit, sorry. And I like get down on the ground and I start searching for them so I can read them.
Yep. So you know that there has been lots of weird accidents, people missing, some occasionally tragically showing up dead, and also not just like dying naturally, just weird things. And you're pretty sure, given the look that Cersei's giving Principal Wood, that was just lip service, and this is a very sudden change that has happened, and it looks like Cersei was supposed to be the principal and now isn't.
Okay. I'll keep that roll then, I think.
Okay.
Rolls. And I will relay this in like hushed tones to my companions as I gather up the knuckle bones, and I basically say all this back in like my muttered voice.
So you do actually have 1 success out of those 3, right? Because you had a 5, a 1, and a 3?
I had a 2, a 3,
2.
and a 5.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, so that's still 1 success, and so you barely managed to kind of not call attention to yourself. Although there is a bit of like both Cersei and the principal turning in somewhat your direction, and you just go down immediately. Like,
that's fine.
So yeah, you get that there's some drama happening, and given how weird this high school is and a lot of supernatural things have been happening, that this is some power struggle that people are not happy with. There's something everybody kind of feels like Cersei. There might be something about her, but nobody's questioned it. And Principal Wood coming into this seems like a bad idea. In fact, I would say you've heard that Principal Wood is very conservative and all about sort of, kids first, and especially Shades, that kind of like the satanic panic is like thinking of not encouraging clubs that are like fantasy and magic game based. So with Principal Wood here, your club might not get any funding to work or to have after school. It's not been official, but it's just like you've heard that there's this, a lot of parents are very happy with Principal Wood becoming principal. So that's the information you have. If you want to.
Do you relay that to us?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I say all of this in like my muttered, like hushed tone. I say everything I discover through the knucklebones. I'm like, this phalange says that there's a power struggle, and oh, this joint bone here says that there's something weird and conservative going on. Yeah, when the joint bone is rolled like that means he's a Republican. If it rolled the other way, it would mean he's a leftist. But no. And I like put all the bones back into my pouch as I relay this info.
This is really bad news. He could stop the D&D club.
What? That's awful. You love D&D.
I do.
Personally, I prefer a more narrative-driven system.
Look, I try to include more narrative. I agree with you. It's not the perfect system. We play other games too. We play indie games as well in this club. We played Halos and Horns just the other night. It's a fantastic game.
Oh yeah, everyone should buy it off of itch for only $3. There's Napa community copy. I hear the writer's very generous about that.
At this point, you hear
They
the
always
bell
make me play
ring.
the horns for some reason.
I wonder why.
You've got so many of them.
And as the bells ring and the students are kind of ushered out, you see Principal Wood being by the entrance where the students are leaving, and says, sort of stops the three of you for very different reasons, and says, "All right, you there, you look very witchy. I don't, I'm not trying to, right of religion and all of that, but like, just saying, there's a student, do you have your student's handbook where, your hair should not be covering your face like that?" And starts doing a whole bunch of like really, sort of like dress code things. You get stopped for dress code, and Bo, you get stopped for, I'm pretty sure cosplay is not allowed, and sort of like starts poking at your horns. And you, Shades, is like, if you are not outside, it is not appropriate for you to wear your sunglasses. It is quite rude. So you all three get stopped for various, like, dress code. So do you comply like right then, or do you sort of talk back or anything of that sort?
Shades immediately argues. I have light sensitivity and can get migraines, so I have to wear these. Also, these neon lights are not good for us. We should change to a softer bulb.
Noted. But I would like to see your doctor. I will let you go this time, but I would like to see your doctor's note next time I see these glasses here.
I will bring you a doctor's note tomorrow, and my friends and I will be on our way. And Shades tries to like link arms and like leave with the group.
Remember, students that are well-dressed succeed the best.
Okay, thanks, Principal Wood. Ugh, Scott, this person's the worst.
Do you guys want to go through his office after school and see if he's hiding anything?
Yes, I 100% want to go through his office. Do we have to wait till after school?
Yeah, you probably do. However, you do have classes, and one of them being chemistry. And you see Cersei not just teaches chemistry, but also teaches biology, and sort of some of the electives are animal husbandry. As you see, there are multiple little small cages with small animals of hamsters. And you notice there's a new hamster from last summer. Like when you ended, there was like 4. Now there's 5 of them. And the 5th one is like incredibly kind of cute, and there's a pattern on it's like brown, white, and sort of like this golden color that's almost a little greenish, and it forms like a small little the pattern is like really odd. It's like it's forming this picture of like a mermaid in a circle.
Ooh. Is it on the back of the hamster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, like the Starbucks symbol?
Yep.
Oh. I didn't even catch that. Good catch, Connie. I was thinking about the
Easter
hamster's
eggs.
design. And I'm sorry, is this in our class, or are we passing by the class and seeing this?
No, this is your class. And after Cersei kind of writes down a couple of things on the board, says, I have to take care of some administrative things, so you all know what to do, and just walks off, leaving you all mostly unattended for the rest, which is probably one of the reasons why weird shit happens, because there's really no supervision in this chemistry lab.
Yeah. Shades immediately goes over to the hamster cage and picks up the new hamster. I'd like to make friends with it.
Yep, just squeaks. Do you want to roll the dice to see if you can make friends?
I do.
Risky action?
Yes.
Only with corporate hamsters. Risky.
How
Risky.
So for me to tell you whether this is a stakes or strategy, how are you trying to befriend this new hamster?
I mean, I don't know if this is the best way, but I think Shades definitely is going to talk in like a bit of a baby voice to it, like, oh, you're so cute. So just very
It's more of a strategy, I would say.
sure.
Which means you need to roll over your number.
That's great. I have a 5. It's fine.
And I would say you could try to convince me to get more dice, but I don't feel your place and story or archetype quite match.
No, and I'm completely fine rolling 1 dice because she walked over and just picked up an animal. She doesn't know and held it close to her face. This is, I mean, come on. So I'll roll 1 and we'll see what happens.
All right.
A 3.
A 3. All right. So you do not succeed. And this hamster just nips you, like, because you were like getting up to its face and you were like, oh, so cute, so cute. Just nips you in the nose really hard. You're gonna have some marks, and just falls away and kind of crawls, like runs away and crawls over somewhere where you didn't quite follow where they went. So there's now a missing hamster.
Oh. Is the classroom door open or closed?
The door was open, just
Okay.
yeah.
I go back to where I assume
There's
we're
a
all
huge
sitting.
squeal as everybody hears this happen. And also I imagine pain as you get nipped on the nose.
Yeah, pain, except we're in high school. And so embarrassment typically takes over pain. And so instead of making any noise, she just kind of like drops her head and walks back to the table and is like, I didn't make friends with the hamster.
You're bleeding.
Wait.
Shades,
It's fine. So
Why do you humans always think that other creatures are gonna speak the same language as you?
because they're cute.
Just-
Poe.
yeah.
Because they're cute.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to say hi to me. I just thought maybe it would be my friend and it would be the 4th member of our group and I could put a jacket on it later if it wanted that. It was a mistake.
Here, yeah. Stop that bleeding. These are some herbs I foraged in my mom's herb garden. Here.
Thanks. Do I just rub them? She's already rubbing them on her nose. Is this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm supposed to chew them up and smear them over the open wound like a poultice.
Oh, that doesn't sound. I'm just gonna rub them. This is working. I feel much better.
I would actually really love to throw in another wrench in the works.
Please do.
I would say since these are your herbs, you get to roll them tropos of are they what they actually are, and will they? But I will say that because you are a witchy thing, the witchy person, it would be completely within. So you get 1 extra dice to that. If you want me to throw in a complication,
Okay.
I can give you another, and this would be another stakes. Roll.
Stakes. Okay, so I want to roll under 3.
Yes.
That's 2 dice, right?
Yes.
I have 1 success.
Yeah. Yeah, these are healing herbs. They're probably not as effective as had you followed the directions exactly, but they will do the trick.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
I lean in to the rest of my party and I says, anyone want to follow Cersei? I wonder what the administrative matters she's tending to are.
Yeah. Poe, what do you think?
I'm torn between following Cersei and trying to follow the hamster, but we might have better luck following Cersei.
Maybe all roads lead to Rome, Poe.
The door is open, and I think the hamster might have left. We can look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we try to follow Cersei? But we don't want to get seen out in the hallway. So maybe I can magic us up some invisibility or something distraction. I don't know, something so they won't see us.
Bo, you got to roll me another stakes.
Poe, do you have a cape of invisibility? Because that would be amazing.
Let's see if I can make your cape make you invisible. I just assume you're wearing a cape.
I am now. You're darn right, Shades.
Yes, which you were cited on by Principal Wood of like.
Of course I was, an unprofessional cape.
and I think that this is, I'm using my demon magic to do this.
Yeah,
right?
So you get 1 more. And by helping.
And I'm doing it to bring them in. Like I'm trying to usher them, to keep them safe. This is me being a mentor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's my 5? I got 2 successes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, it goes off without a hitch, and you just easily just like poop, all 3 of you are invisible.
Nice.
I assume you do it somewhere maybe where you don't disappear in the middle of the class where the other students are. And yeah, you are free to follow in any direction. And you notice that there are hall monitors distributed. They have gotten the nickname over time as the Harpies.
Oh.
Because they keep harping on about how you're not supposed to be here.
There it is.
Love it.
And you easily bypass them, and you noticed a small furry, small furry little ball kind of just squeaking and trying to head towards the principal's office.
Yeah. There's the hamster. I shouldn't be the one though.
I got it.
Oh.
Here, hamster, hamster, hamster. And I reach into my pouch and I take out some like graham cracker sprinkles and I just sprinkle it on the ground like a babushka trying to feed pigeons in a park. Here, hamster, hamster, hamster.
Yeah, so the hamster just kind of does a little sniffs, turns around and starts following the trail, and then disappears as you pick.
Yeah, I stuff it in my bag, right? And I cinch the neck of the bag.
And you hear a little
So it can't get out.
squeal, like,
What are you doing?
I just have to make sure it doesn't escape. It'll be fine. There's nothing harmful in there except for Nightshade.
Well, Nightshade sounds dangerous.
Oh, don't worry. It's just a little bit. It's all bunched up at the bottom.
Bunched up like ready for the hamster to eat.
Oh, shit. And I pull it open and I'm like, get it out, get it out.
I'd say it's fast enough. I'm not going to make you do another roll.
Okay, Shades definitely jumps back and puts her hands up and looks at Poe. Like, I'm not the hamster already bit my nose.
And it's just like squeaking, like indignant squeaking of like, how dare you? How dare?
So I definitely just pick up the hamster and just start kind of.
Does anything happen to the hamster?
What are you trying to do with the incantation?
I'm just trying to tell him that everything's gonna be okay. But I'm doing it in a different language.
Yeah.
In a demonic language. It's the lingua franca of demons.
Would you like to roll another stakes to see?
I would love to.
I love that all of our rolls are about this hamster.
That's it. That's the story. It's about this hamster.
It's about this hamster.
How many dice am I rolling?
I would say at least 2. If you would let it, you could try to convince me for 1 more dice.
I think 2 is fine. I got a 1 and a 5, so I got a stake strategy.
Ooh, yes. You can ask me a question, which is probably good because
yeah. What do I make of this symbol on the back? Or what do I make of this? Like, does this hamster? I guess does this hamster seem like a normal hamster? Does it seem? What do I make of this?
No, this is some poor mortal who has been turned into a hamster.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
I want to re-roll with that information. I'm hoping I get 2 successes. I still got 1 success. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because this is not an ordinary hamster and has very much been turned by magic or something or another, this hamster just calms down and just is like now absolutely petrified, which is one way of keeping him calm.
Yeah.
I think it worked.
What's up with this hamster, Poe?
Oh yeah. This isn't a hamster.
Is it a guinea pig? Sometimes I confuse the
It's
two.
a shrew, isn't it?
This is I think it might be one of our classmates. I don't know. It's a human.
What?
It's a human?
Yeah, I've seen this
person?
before. Yeah.
Who is it? Well, I mean, will the hamster tell you?
They're not talking to me anymore.
Oh.
And you feel a little bit of wet.
Humans don't love when you talk.
At this point.
Humans don't love it when you talk to them as demons. So yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
What? And maybe I can turn them back and then they can tell us what's going on.
Yeah. Do you know a spell to turn them back? I kind of want to know who they are. What if it's someone who's mean to us? Then we don't.
Well, then I'll just turn them right back into a hamster. Don't worry about it.
Okay, let's do this.
You might be able to break a hex. It might be really, really difficult to reverse it.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
So this is 100% stakes. I will because this is a big magic sort of a thing. I would need at least 2 successes. However, I will make this a group if you want help and to increase the
Please
thing.
help me.
Yes, of course.
With whoever is able to conjure magic, I'm gonna say it's at least 2 successes.
Okay.
So as a witch, you get 1. You get 1 for basically being a spooky witch. The secret coven doesn't quite apply here, but again, friends. Whoever's helping, I can also tell you what dice you get.
Yeah, I'll definitely help.
All right, so then you get to add 1 more dice, as in you get to roll a die, and because you are a reluctant hero and a paid professional badass, I I will allow you to get 2 more dice to that, especially with the whole D&D nerd thing. I will.
Okay.
So you get 3, and Connie, you get 2 to roll.
Okay, so I'm trying to
I'm
roll
gonna
under 3, and Shades is trying to roll under 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to stand back and get ready to punch someone or something if it turns out I was wrong and it's not a human, or if it's someone we don't like.
Okay.
I'm ready for this. I'll take him out.
Okay. So we'll see if you can reverse this, whatever has been cast on this poor hamster.
Is it stakes?
Stakes, yes. You
So
are
I'm
both
trying to
rolling.
roll under my 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I got 1 success.
Okay.
I got 2 successes.
Yeah, so with 3 or more, you get a critical success. And did any of you roll your number as part of the
No.
roll?
No,
Okay.
I rolled 2 3s. I rolled Connie's number.
Okay, so describe to me how you cast the spell, and I will tell you the result after you
Okay.
have cast it.
So the hamster is still visible, right? It's just the 3 of us that are
Yeah.
invisible, so it looks like it's floating.
And where are you all when this happens? I imagine out of
We're
your
definitely in the hallway.
out of
the middle.
out of eyesight of the harpies, hopefully.
Yeah, like around the
Yeah,
corner.
around the corner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
If
Yeah.
you say so.
Next to a water fountain.
Yep.
Next to a water
I-
fountain. Yes. Okay.
I place the hamster in the water fountain, and I instruct Shades, who's helping me,
Yeah.
to continuously push down the water.
Oh, like
We
this.
need running water for transformation magic to work.
Okay. It's hitting it in the face. Is that
It's fine. It's okay.
And there's like this
hem in the
little
hamster.
gurgling happening.
Oh, God. We're waterboarding.
I think I push it up just a little bit so it's hitting its chest.
Okay.
Sorry.
And as you do these incantations, you see suddenly a little kind of aura coming out. And suddenly this hamster is like getting bright and you can barely see, like, the eyes close, special effects, TV show thing. And suddenly you hear the water fountain crack and fall under the weight of Mr. Tooliger in their birthday suit.
Oh, he's naked.
Oh.
And
I
goes
don't know how
like,
to process this.
oh my goodness, like, and there's modesty sort of covering, in the cinematic thing, but just sort of like, what am I doing here, and who are you, and what happened?
Oh, I think Shades takes off her cape of invisibility and tosses it over Mr. Twilliger.
Just his nether regions, though, so he's like a
Yes.
floating old man.
Yes, exactly. Just the legs and lower region.
Yep.
I'm still sitting there with my fist up, like looking at the two of you, like I'm trying to decide, is this someone?
Oh, no, don't knock him out.
Oh,
That's
no, don't.
Mr.
Yeah.
That's Principal Tooliger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Principal Tooliger, what happened?
I don't know. I was, last I remember, I was at a meeting where what is it? 100 moms were basically saying I needed to do something about all the accidents that were happening in school and all the witches, or anyways, they were being
PTA meeting.
yeah. And then they said that if I didn't step down or if I didn't do something about it, they would make me go down and they would pick someone who would fit this much better. And
they did that. They picked someone new, but they told us you retired.
and then the last thing I remember, I was talking to
Cersei?
I mean,
A guy in a suit.
Sorry?
A guy in a suit?
Yeah. And then there was also, oh, it's so fuzzy. Wait, is it September already?
Yeah.
Sort
It's the
of
first day
looking.
of school.
Oh no! Why? They must have really drugged my.
You were a hamster until like a minute ago.
A hamster?
You're welcome.
Yeah, you bit me.
You bit Shade's face.
You bit me right here you bit my face.
Yeah.
Please. Please do not tell your parents about that. I don't want to be fired, and then the police will have something about biting a minor. Just,
We'll
just
revisit that later. Do you need some water?
It's
and looks at the broken fountain.
Never mind.
Yeah. I'm going to go find my clothes, and kind of starts walking away.
But Principal Tuliker, what did the moms want? What was their end game? What nefarious deeds were they trying to actualize?
I mean, not everything's a game. I know you really like playing the games, but
if you can't remember, I'll remember for you. And I press my thumb against his head, and I try to read his memory.
All right, this is a stakes
of the meeting.
Yep, stakes roll, yeah, I'm just gonna give you 3 dice for that.
Do it.
Okay, that is 2 successes. 3 successes. That is 3 full successes.
Yep. All right, wonderful. So you literally kind of go in and search for the memories. You see that PTA meeting with 100 moms, and only 10 of them were there, but their group was called 100 Moms, and they're just like, just think of the most waspy people you can think of, sitting there and sort of saying, it's not right that I heard that my child started playing magic in school and now is spending all their magic on these cards or something, so all their money on cards, and then not studying and their grades are so bad, and various versions of those, and and the principal's like, yes, but those are perfectly fine extracurricular activities. At least they're not using drugs. And says, well, I heard there's a new school board member, Principal Wood. Mr. Wood, who said that the teachers are encouraging too many of these things, and we need to fix this. And especially are the chemistry teacher. I mean, have you seen what she wears? Do you know how much cleavage is coming out of that? And like making other sort of remarks, and they basically were saying, sack Cersei or we're gonna replace you. And then Principal Tuliger agrees reluctantly, because like, I can find another teacher, it's fine, and is heading into the hallway and speaks to Cersei, and Cersei looks very upset and is just leaving, and that's when there's sort of like a haze, and suddenly you see the floor and Cersei kind of picking up Tuliger and being like, I guess you'll be you'll help the students learn about animal husbandry, and puts it in the cage with the other 4 that were there, and walks away, and that's when the memory fades.
And I tell my friends everything. Yes, it's fine. It's just, it's horrible being inside a man's head. It's just awful.
Yeah, I bet.
And I tell both of them everything, like down to the nostril hair on like the PTA mom in front, like every little detail.
And you can overhear, as you're quickly discussing this, you can overhear 2 very loud voices happen, like almost sort of yelling at each other at the principal's office. You have a little bit of time because plot, but just letting you know that you hear a very female voice and a very male voice arguing in the principal's office. You're still like a hall and half a hall away from the office.
That's got to be Cersei and Principal Wood. Principal Tuliger, why don't you get some clothes? And
Tuliger's already left.
Show anyone. Okay, he's gone. He's out of there.
As soon as you released, just was like, what? Yeah. I did not touch you, just to be very clear. And just walks off.
Poe, what do we do?
I mean, I just kind of just gesture and point in the direction of the sounds, and I'm like, I'm torn. Do we Cersei is turning people into hamsters, but Principal Wood is trying to take away our extracurriculars.
Yeah, I don't know which one of them is worse.
I'm with
Do we stop
Cersei.
them both?
I mean, as long as all the people she's turning into hamsters are like shitty old men, I'm cool with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm okay.
That's
with
fair.
that.
Actually,
Okay, no.
pro hamsterification.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go help her. So we go help Cersei turn Principal Wood into a hamster. We're agreed.
That's our objective.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm guessing you're heading towards the principal's office?
Yes.
Hell yes.
So as you go, you see the door is locked. Which I would say it would take a risky roll to figure out how to crack that lock.
I try to charge into it.
All right.
Yeah.
You're a big buff
Into it. Like,
demon.
put my shoulder through it.
Yep. So that would be definitely a stakes roll. And
think
since you have firepower, add one more. Yeah. If you want to throw in a complication, I can give you one more.
I would love a complication.
All right. You see the harpies are now investigating the noise of the busted water fountain, so you may have a witness if you do not succeed in time.
That's
Good
that's fair, and
Yeah.
which is particularly concerning because as I'm running towards it to get the full impact, I drop whatever glamour I have up, so I look full on demon mode as I crash into this door.
All right, yeah. So give me three dice rolls. You're trying to get under.
I got 3 successes: a 2, a 3, and a 4.
Nice. Please narrate how you bust through that door.
Yep.
So, like I said, I start to as we turn the corner, we see the doors close, and I start to run, and I toss the football back to Shades, toss the football back, and then as I'm turning, as I said, the glamour kind of drops, so I start to shimmer, and again television special effects, the lettering jacket kind of just. It's at first it's waving as I'm running, and it kind of like forms to my body, and I start to get a little bit larger, and you see me in my full metallic shimmery glory. And I go head first into the door to run through it. As it busts off the hinges, I lift up, and it's still stuck on my horns. The door is just there.
Nice. Okay, so I'm now going to set this final scene that you see, and whatever happens next, it's going to be a group check to resolve this. What you see is the office is very bare bones. It's a lot. There's not much happening. Like Tuliger kind of had a lot of weird knickknacks and things, and also was a huge fan of a particular coffee chain. So there was a lot of that merchandise over there. And instead, you see what looks to be a very small desk with a couple of supernatural paraphernalia, which you all recognize as some sort of a holy sort of a thing, but not like Christian holy, more like it looks to be symbolic for what looks to be nature and wood and like some old pagan or older like religion, sorry, not religion, older sort of appeasement of like a nature god or something of that sort. Yeah. You see standing over Cersei, who is bound with chains of what looks to be wood and thorns, as well as looks to be like almost like wind chains and almost like water chains and sort of like a nature coming together, kind of being bound down and tied. And looming over her, you see Principal Wood having a focus and something else and starting to incant. And you see below Cersei this sort of a small portal opening up that looks like it's just a black river. And if any of you had basically done ancient, like classical, Greek mythology or whatever, you see it looks to be something that could only be described as Tartarus.
Oh, okay.
Starting to just yawn open under. And that's the yelling and sort of the voice and sort of Cersei being like, ha, you can't, you can try, but I've been alive for these many years because I'm good at what you do. Let's see what you can do, sort of a thing. And is slowly being muffled by the chains sort of grabbing her further and trying to pull her down. And this is the scene you all come to. So collectively, we will resolve this with a check. And you need to make 4 successes total amongst all of you to do exactly what you want to do.
Okay. How many dice do we each get?
I will say, because this is a big thing that you all are working towards, you all get 3.
Nice.
Okay.
If you want
good.
one more each, I will give you a very big complication.
I kind of want to hear a complication.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
If you are not careful, you might get pulled into Tartarus yourself if you do not make those 4 checks or 4 successes.
Okay, 4 successes.
Okay.
But that's amongst
dice?
9 dice, so 3 each.
3.
This is
3 each.
stakes.
Okay.
This is stakes, so you all have to roll under your number.
Under our number. Okay.
Okay.
Is it 3 each?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got 1 success.
No, you get 4. Sorry.
4?
You get 4 each, so that's actually 12. You need to get 4 successes from 12 dice.
Okay. I
got 4 successes.
I have 3 successes and I rolled my number once.
Okay.
I got 4 successes.
Because you rolled your number once, you get to ask me a potential, like, a question about what is happening, and you can then change your dice or act differently.
Okay. Do I think that Principal Wood is a vampire or any sort of creature that could be taken down by a stake? I know a human can, but I mean, like...
Not a vampire, given everything, and also being out during daytime, as this is still it's normal school day, but definitely some sort of either a descendant of some mythical creature. And as you try to think, you remember the tale of it was like this weird, like when you were researching for a character maybe in D&D. There was a tale of one particular Picus in like ancient Rome who got turned into a woodpecker by an enchantress. Actually, now that you think of it, that was probably Cersei. The mythical creature. The mythical creature. It's totally not your actual teacher.
No, of course not. That's not possible. That's our chemistry teacher.
But yeah, with all those successes, I will let y'all decide how you resolve this. And you can resolve it in the way you will follow. I will just throw in a couple of things to support it, but I will allow you to tell this story.
Can we turn him back into a woodpecker?
You certainly can, but was not actually. It looks he's probably a descendant of the person who got
daddy,
turned.
like son.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah. So how do you go about turning? I'm assuming saving Cersei and turning this guy into a woodpecker.
My idea is like, what if we? Because Atropos would want to cut Cersei free because it's like this is our chemistry teacher, and if Cersei's this awesome witch, I feel like once she's free, and like if I'm focusing on closing the portal, maybe she's the one who does it, or like with like our combined magic powers or whatever.
That's totally we can totally do it that way. So you're focusing on cutting Cersei free. How do you do that?
I am gonna just reach into the depths of my sack and I'm gonna just pull out these big silver scissors, right? That like cling, and like Poe would like be able to like feel like the magic vibrating off of them. Because Atropos is one of the weavers of fate in Greek mythology. Like one of the I think she's the one who cuts, I'm almost certain.
You feel that sort of almost like the fates are putting all their magic into it as you take those scissors out, and they gleam faintly with like a little bit of gold as well.
I found these in a thrift store, but they were calling to me. I think they can cut through anything.
And I like run forward and I cut open like the chains that are binding Cersei.
Poe, what are you doing while this is happening?
So I'm remembering back to how I used to, or that kingdom that we created in this town, and how one of the things I used to do there was used my powers to again take away people's will, to stop them. To stop them from being able to resist. And so I think back on that, and then I, as I look through the door, I make direct eye contact with the wood, just as wood is trying to do something, which I'll let you describe, and start muttering to myself, chanting something to freeze him in his tracks, to stop him from being able to intervene.
And Shades, what are you doing in this?
That fits so well, I think, with what Poe's doing. So I think that when we first came in, that Shades was ready, like pulled this wooden stake out of her backpack and was like ready, and then realized that this is not a vampire. She's new to this, right? And he had put his hand on the desk, and so Shades just comes over and like stabs his hand into the desk so that he can't move to do any sort of magic or spells. So it's possible that what Poe did is actually what stopped him, but Shades thinks that she clearly was a big part of helping.
So as all of this happens, you cut those with those scissors, and all of these like almost impossible. How would you cut air and water and everything? Because it goes snip, snip, snip. And Cersei sort of frees herself and says, thanks, maybe we should have some private tutoring, you and I. And looks like you have potential. And nice scissors. Keep that away from me though. And and starts to kind of lunge onto and starts cackling, and the cackle sounds very old and like very ancient. And I feel like with Poe and Cersei working together, you see Principal Wood very short time just sort of start to shrink and sort of turn into a woodpecker. And I feel, if I can edit what Shades a little bit, I feel in sort of trying to get all of this done, you maybe didn't mean to, but you end up smacking the woodpecker into the portal as it starts to close.
Yes, that is exactly what happens.
And there's like this big like almost like when something implodes, that's sort of like a vacuum sound. And then there's just this force of energy as everything's flung across. And at this point, you see the harpies come in and stare at Cersei, and Cersei stares at them. And they're like, we'll fix the fountain, and walk off. And you see for a moment that their mouths are a little beak-like, but they disappear. It's almost like a little illusion.
Ooh.
And Cersei sort of looks at all of you and says, this is a little awkward. I mean, students are not really supposed to see all of this, but I feel that maybe, you know what? Forget the stupid rule about mortals not, gods and mortals and all of that stuff and not meddling in their affairs. You know what? They've been gone for for millennia. It's my show now. So I will not wipe all of your memories for today.
Oh,
Also, I've seen you around at least for a couple of decades. I'm pretty sure you're not a student, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to bring it up. Also, thank you for accept the door. Just can you just put it back in place, please?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
oh,
Frozen. Start trying
Cersei,
to pull it off.
Cersei.
Yes.
We know that you can turn people into hamsters. We have a list of men that we would like you to turn into hamsters. When you get around to it, it's not a big priority.
How did you? Oh, I should have said we really should not have ancient Greek studies here because then people will remember and just.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
some of us remember the ancient Greek
yeah, that too.
itself, but yeah.
Well,
You might not be principal anymore.
Well, we don't. What do you mean I wouldn't be principal anymore?
I think the other principal's back. Oh, maybe he still wants to retire though. He probably doesn't want to stick around.
What do you mean the other
That's
principal's
okay.
back?
We'll tell everyone he bit Shades' face.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fair,
When he
good
was
call.
a hamster, he bit my face. So we can just tell everyone that he bit my face, and then you can be principal.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll take care of it.
Wait, Tulliger's free?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
We kind of accidentally waterboarded him, and while he was a hamster, and then turned him back into a human.
But he was running around the building naked, so he probably can't keep his job.
He's probably arrested by now. I think it's okay.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess that take care of that. I always thought I've never actually turned them back. So I'm surprised that the clothes don't stay on. Good to know.
They don't.
And with that, I think we're gonna fade into an epilogue of it is homecoming, and there is a game and there is a ball, and just very quickly around the table, what do each of you do after these weird events happen on day one of school? Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
I think Atropos would want to hang out with their friends, with Shades and Poe, but maybe I don't know what Shades is up to, but if Shades were playing D&D, would definitely crash their campaign session. Would show up at Shades' house or wherever this is happening and knock on it, or they're with their mom and the mom knocks and Atropos looks really embarrassed and the mom's knocking at the door, and they're like, they've kind of combed their hair a little bit and they parted their hair just a bit to show the other side of their face. They've cleaned up just a little bit. And you see their other eye is a different color because why not? It's this milky white eye, right? The prophetic eye, and they're standing there real nervous at your threshold.
Oh, yeah. I think that Shades flings the door open and is like, "Yay, you're here! Well, come on, it's homecoming. We're gonna be late." And then unless you disagree, pulls your arm into the Chrysler Fifth Avenue and drives us to the game. But instead of going to the game, we go under the bleachers where there's a D&D game going on.
Nice.
And we're playing D&D instead of watching the game.
I have an important question.
Yes.
Are you, how do you treat sort of spellcasters and witchy things and spells? Are you pedantic, or are you kind of just roll with it?
Me, Shades?
Nah, no,
Oh,
Tropos.
yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
In terms of my actual spells, or like if I'm playing a spellcaster?
If I'm playing, if you're like, do you play? Yeah.
If I'm a player, I think Atropos is super rules as written. Is like, no, the range on that, that's a concentration spell. You can't cast 2 level spells in one turn, even if one's a bonus action. It's only a cantrip and a level spell. And like, it's like kind of rules lawyering it a little bit.
And Bo, are you joining in these festivities?
You're invited if you want.
Yeah, so I alternate between trying to come down and play if they'll let me behind the bleachers, and going out to the game. I'm actually not on the football team. I'm one of the cheerleaders. I just carry around the football because I'm kind of confused about.
Are you the mascot?
This whole sports thing? No, I'm one of the cheerleaders. I'm just out there cheering, and I'm one of the tumblers.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice.
And
Oh, wow.
because we didn't actually mention it, the team for the school is the Surfing Sunflowers. And you see the mascot, like, basically in a sunflower suit on a surfboard that basically has, like, circles on it. And it's just kind of like cruising in, surf, like more like skateboarding rather than surfing because you're not on the sea. But yeah, and then you tumble into it, and then we see the game, and then we slowly fade out. And with that, we are done with our game, Stakes and Strategies.
Yay! Yay!
Thank you.
That was so good.
So much
Thank
fun,
you.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really good.
Thank you so much for writing that game, Stakes and Strategy, and also thank you so much, Connie, for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. This was a blast.
Yeah, if you'd like to play either games featured on this show, you can definitely check out the links that are going to be in chat momentarily. And if you're watching this later as a VOD or on our podcast, you can get more info on our video description or show notes. And as we wind up today's episode, let's go quickly around the table and plug ourselves. Who are we and where can we find you? And we'll start with our wonderful guest, please.
Hey everyone, I've been Connie, pronouns they, he, and she. I am a professional GM, a budding game designer, and a screenwriter. And you can find me everywhere on the internet at by Connie Chang, BYCONNIECHANG. I am most active on Twitter. Give me a follow. I'm super friendly. Shoot me a DM. Check out my games on itch, by Connie Chang as well. And also consider pledging to my Patreon at by Connie Chang, where I give GM tips, as well as run a bi-monthly paid game. But I think all my slots are taken, so I really shouldn't be advertising that. Other than that, I am the GM and producer behind Transplanar RPG, which is, I'm repping it on my shirt, an all transgender people of color led 100% homebrew Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition live streamed actual play campaign set in an original non-colonial anti-orientalist world that streams Saturdays at 3 p.m. US Central Time. That's 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern. If you are not free then, or if you don't like watching stream games but you love actual play content, tune into our podcast, which drops new episodes Tuesdays. We're currently working through Arc 1. We're currently on Arc 4 in our stream game, but we're chugging, we're churning out episodes, and we will catch up eventually to our stream. Please give us a listen, download us, rate us on Apple Podcasts. That really, really does help with increasing the reach and the engagement to new audiences. And with that, I'll pass along our introductions to Kristin.
Hi, Kristin, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Kristin is no Jedi. Again, thank you, Connie, for joining us. And Jeremy, that's a fantastic game. That's the first time I've played Stakes and Strategies, and it was awesome. Such a good Lasers and Feelings hack. So I hope everyone will check those games out. So as for me, I'm a game designer, writer, podcaster. I do this live stream every other Thursday with my amazing co-hosts who I adore. And you can find my games at diceupgames.com or on Drive-Thru or Itch. And you can also find my interview podcast on Tabletop Babble or at Geekspective. So every other week I release an episode. It's called Tabletop Crowd. I interview folks who are having a gaming relating crowdfunding project coming out. I talk with them, we discuss their project, and we release it during the Kickstarter or other crowdfunding as a way to get the word out and help hype supporters. So you can follow me again at Kristin is no Jedi, and I'll pass it over to Jeremy.
Thank you so much. Gosh, I had a blast tonight. Thank you, everyone. My name is Jeremy Harper. I use they, them pronouns. I'm an educator and game designer. And I this was my first time playing this game because I'm really bad at playtesting things that I create. So I just create them and put them out into the world and hope they're good. So this was a blast. Thank you all. You can find me on Twitter at HarkMorper, or you can find other things I've created at harkmorper.itch.io. I think that's how you get to it. And if you liked this game, you can check it out. I have another game about vampires called How Do You Do, Fellow Humans? That's more of a sitcom vibe, vampire roommates. So if you like vampires, check it out. I think it will be played at some point over BIPoC Vamp Jam or BIPoC Vamp Day weekend. So yeah, thank you, everyone. And I will pass things off to Mariam.
Yeah, speaking of Vamp Jam and Vamp Day, I am doing several things for that. But yeah, I am Mariam, they, them pronouns. You can follow me on Twitter at media_junkie. I do a lot of stuff in Utopia, who organize the Game Jam. However, the Vamp Day is done by a wonderful Black cosplayer, Betty. And definitely on Twitter, look out for BIPoC Vamp Day or BIPoC for the game specifically, BIPoC Vamp Jam. And you'll definitely be seeing me tweeting a lot about it because we're going to have it next weekend. For context, that would be September 17th to the 19th. And I also wrote a little game for it called Flats and Fangs. And hopefully we'll see it being streamed or played at some point. But yeah, please follow me for all of that BIPoC Vamp goodness. And yeah, with that, we are going to end our show for tonight. Please join us next time where we get to play Adorablins with our very special guest, Amber. And I believe, Kristin, you have a very unique connection to that as well, aside from being the host for that episode. If you want to give a little sneak peek before we head out.
Sure. Yeah. So Adorablins is a game that I co-designed with my partner, Tim, as well as Amber. Amber will be GMing. She did all the art. You may have seen her art. She actually is in the last 24 hours at the time of this live stream of her Kickstarter for her Adorablin pins. But we are making a game about it. And it is very stripped down, PBTA light at its core. It is meant to teach children how to introduce them to the world of RPGs. But we have play tested a ton with adults. It's silly, it's shenanigans. So join us next time for that game. It'll be a blast.
Yeah, and with that, we will see you next time.